So, good evening, everybody. Hope all is well. My name is Anthony Palma. I'm the representative here tonight, going over our brief conversation regarding banana, focusing primarily on the domestication of the product, if you will. Um, Banana, as we're all learning here within our group, more affectionately known as a banana bunch, is a rather complex fruit plant, however you want to phrase it, than I would think any of us initially thought, given what we've been studying and reviewing here over the beginning of our group work. So when you think about banana, personally, you think of Chiquita, you think of Dole, you think of what you grab for a snack, wake up, breakfast, lunch, midday, however you apply it. But when you look at it from a scientific standpoint and in purposes of tonight's conversation, as I mentioned in the beginning, significantly more complex than that. The word banana is a general term embracing and encompassing many species or hybrids in the genus Musa. Some species of the plant are grown only as ornamental plants or for production of fiber and even used for strong ropes. Other types have been cultivated for tissue thin tea bags, and finally, the fruit that we know today, made for our nutrition and enjoyment, if you will. Today's commentary is going to focus on the earliest forms of banana and really summarizing with comparison to today. The conversation is going to come in three parts. We'll have a brief overview of the climate where today's banana grows best, followed by the main part of our presentation, which how did it get to these parts and the history of the domestication of the product. Then lastly, a quick comparison of then versus now, how is it utilized today, and really why is it more important than ever to understand the history of banana as it is potentially vital to the future of the fruit. So for the climate part, today's edible bananas are really restricted to tropical or what we'll call near tropical regions, roughly between latitudes 30 degrees north and 30 degrees south, as our picture on the right highlights for us. Within this band, if you will, there are varied climates with different lengths of dry season, different degrees and patterns of precipitation. A suitable banana climate, it has a mean temperature of 80 degrees Fahrenheit and a mean rainfall of approximately 4 inches per month. With that being said, there should be a dry season that lasts no more than 3 months of dry season. Cool weather, prolonged drought severely stunt banana growth. And with that being said, winter, banana really only produces 1 leaf per month compared to the summer, where 4 leaves are averaged in a month's time frame. In addition, frost can be a threat as well. A brief period of frost can kill the plant all the way down to the ground, leaving only the below ground structure intact. Lastly, the shelter and within this band is also protected or needs to be protected from wind. Strong winds can do everything from distorting the plant's position, blowing leaves off the plant, as well as collapsing the entire tree. So when you think about climate as we discussed it, where did we figure out, or where did banana start to then end up and finding out that this is the most ideal situation? So when we look today at the domestication of the plant, bananas and their cousin plantains are grown essentially in every humid and tropical region and constitute the 4th largest crop of the world. World production is estimated on an annualized basis to be approximately 28 million tons, 65% from Latin America, 27% from Southeast Asia, and the remaining coming from Africa. But how did it get there? As you can see, or what we're about to find out, is that Latin America definitely wasn't the beginning or the origin of banana. So where do we find out where banana came from? One's got to travel back to find banana's earliest forms, anywhere from 7 to as long ago as 10,000 years. Banana is believed to be the world's very first fruit, thought to have grown in the region that includes the Malaya Peninsula, Indonesia, the Philippines, and New Guinea. Others believe the natural distribution of our subject stretches in the north from Nepal and southern mountainous China, and the south to the southern islands of Indonesia, with an outlier in the wet tropical rainforest of Queensland. The western limit for this school of thought is India, with an outlier on the Pemba Island near the African coast. And then finally to the east, we've seen the wild Musa recorded in Melanesia, with an outlier all the way on the eastern flank of Samoa. These versions of the crop were the most basic, inedible versions. Quite frankly, if a human tried to eat them at this point in time, they probably would have wound up with broken teeth, if not anything worse. The process of taking banana from the wild remote jungles of Melanesia and the Philippines to today's production capitals in Brazil and Latin America follow the same migratory path of essentially humans who carried them there. The earliest is believed to start in farmers in Southeast Asia, with the first domesticated plant through cultivation on their farms, then carried over to Europe in the 10th century. Another thought is that traders from Arabia, Persia, India, and Indonesia distributed banana suckers around coastal regions of the Indian Ocean between the 5th and 15th centuries. Lastly, in the early 16th century, Portuguese mariners transported the plant from West African coast to South America. The types of banana found in cultivation in the Eastern Pacific have actually been traced through Eastern Indonesia and from here to Hawaii. Lastly, how they got over to Latin America. Between roughly the 16th and 19th century, suckers were traded in the Americas and plantations were established in Latin America and the Caribbean, being where we are today. So far we've discussed where banana plants grow, where they came from, and now how it got around the world from beginning to present. Lastly, what we want to discuss here is briefly a little then versus now. We've summarized that in two ways. The variety of banana we see today and also the vulnerability. In the bottom left-hand side, you see one of the earliest forms of what we believe to be banana. Okra-like pods, inedible as I mentioned prior. Once crossbred, you then see today's primary version of banana hanging here on the right, along with its most popular cousin, plantains. Obviously, the most popular version is the edible version. We've seen people use it in fruit cups, fruit slices, fruit salads, being peeled and eaten out of hand. You've seen it incorporated in ice cream, bread, and muffin. But today's versions as well also have a multitude of purposes, used as plates for lining cooking pits and also for food wrapping and storage. It also has a tremendous application in a medical sense as well. The vulnerability piece, though, kind of goes where to my opening comments. The threats facing to banana today are numerous and complex. What we're finding is that banana's genetic sameness or the lack of genetic diversity has left it very susceptible to some of the different types of pests and, more importantly, diseases floating around. So the ironic part is that in order for banana to survive and thrive into the future, we've got to get back to basics and find out what did those earliest forms of banana have that allowed it to survive and thrive for the past 7,000 to 10,000 years. So we discussed a couple things here this evening. The climate for banana to succeed, spent the majority of our time on the domestication of banana from its starts to the worldwide distribution networks we see today. And then lastly, a quick compare and contrast, and really tied it in that for banana's future, they really got to get back to basics, get back to where it came from as a way to fight off the threats facing banana. So hope you enjoyed a quick presentation. With that said, I'll conclude our comments and we'll talk to you later.